Before we start jumping in and making pictures tonight, I'd just like to run you through a few of the tools that we're going to use this evening, just so you've got a little bit of an idea of what they are. The V tool is located up here in your top left-hand corner. This allows you to move objects around your picture. The W tool is your quick selection tool, so that allows you to cut out a portion of your picture and either remove it or just move it to another place. B tool is your brush tool, which we'll be using quite a bit tonight. Depending on which way you use it, you can either rub out what's on your page, or you can actually paint it back in. The J tool is like your band-aid tool. I usually use this right at the end. It removes blemishes and fills the area that you're cutting out with content-aware products. So any item that's around it will fill in the gap. The X tool, this works with your brush tool, and this is where you either choose whether you're rubbing out or painting back in by these two little black and white squares down in the corner here. Control on a PC or Command on a Mac, T, gives you the transform tool. This allows you to enlarge your object, move it around, resize your object in any way really, and then just place it where you want to place it. It gives you quite a lot of freedom. You can reverse your pictures. The next thing we're going into is layers. So up in the top here under Windows, click on the layer icon and it'll bring you up a layer box. This is showing you everything that's on this particular piece that we're doing. And the top hat is, I had it on a white layer. And just to get rid of it from the white layer, all I had to do was drop from the drop down box here, press multiply, and that wiped out the white. It also works the opposite with black. This little white piece here was on a black background, and from that drop down box I chose screen, and it knocks out all of the blacks. So that's about it for what we will use tonight. Anything else that crops up I'll try and explain to you as we go along. Let's just get started. this is just a little insight into what we can do with layers, seeing as it's going to be pretty much what we use tonight. So I started with a plain background. And now I'm just bringing in a photo. So I've taken that from the dock and I've used the V tool to lift it from one to the other, and then I'll dock the photo again. Going back in here, we've got the two photos combined now, and I'll just use the transform key to set that in place. Then using some different blend modes just to see what will work and what won't work. There are some that don't work very well with some things, but certainly better with others. That's one that's not so good. Then you can just change the opacity, drag that down to wherever you want it. And heading down here to the FX tool, and right up to the very top of this is a thing called blend modes. That brings up a little box that shows you different blendings that happen, and you can play with this till you get the desired effect. You don't have to use it, it's just an extra option. So just duplicating the background and putting it over the top and doing exactly the same thing. Going down to FX, into blend mode, and then just doing it differently. Gives you something different again. Then I've just added a layer mask, and using the brush, just brushing back in the picture underneath. So this is really, really rough. It takes a fair bit of doing, so you just go at it at a slow pace until you get it to the effect that you want. As you can see, I'm on the little black box. If you need to go back the other way, then you would click it across to the white box, and that will put your picture back in. So that's just a quick effect on that one. And again, just lowering the opacity. Now I'm just going to duplicate the picture layer. I'm actually going to Control Alt Shift E, and that joins the background and the picture into one. And then I'm just going through the different levels, curves, just different ways that you can create your light dark effects. These all take playing with as well. And this is just a guideline as to how they can work. This is curves. Usually curves works best if it's in what seems to be like a small S figure from the top of the curve to the bottom. Hue saturation. So I've pressed the colorize box, and you can actually change totally the color of the face, or the whole picture in fact. Then there's light and dark. So as you can see, there's just lots and lots of ways to go about changing the look of your image just through these panels. Turn this one into black and white, and then you just move the different color layers. Only affects the color that you were originally at. So as you'll see with the red one coming up, this is the one that was most effect on this particular picture. Now you've had a bit of a play with the layers and whatever, this little one just shows you how I completed the picture of Robert's table. I started with an initial single photo and then dragged all the other photos over the top, rubbing out everything else except for an extra picture of Robert. So layer by layer I worked my way up the stack until I had enough pictures of Robert to fill the table. Once I got to there, I decided to add a background, which was the one that we used on the night, and from there I used multiple choices of layers, as in multiply, screen, lighten, to lighten and darken it all up. Until I got it to where I felt that it was tidy enough. Then I started thinking it was missing something. So I started thinking, well, Robert is looking at something, but what's he looking at? So I went off to find something for Robert to be looking at, and found Pete. So then Pete's picture was different, a little bit out of the ordinary, and I had to work around getting it to blend in better, but still have Pete stand out just that little bit more than the table because he was to the foreground. Then I went off into the filters and I added a plastic wrap filter. And then came back and rubbed off what I didn't want from that filter. Going through and lightening and darkening again. You just continue to do this until you feel that you've gotten to the stage where your picture looks the way you want it when you're happy with it. And thank you very much to Ronnie Payne for lending me these photos. I actually added smoke as well. Yeah, thank you again, Ronaldo Payne, for letting me use your photos. I wasn't able to get time to take those photos on the night. Going back to Robert's picture, this is a lovely composite. However, to get it to look a little bit more original, a little bit more like a piece of art than just a whole pile of pictures composited together, we start now on the fun side. This is after you're happy with everything that you see, then I head up into the filter gallery up the top there, and for this one I'm picking oil painting. So click on that. It takes you into a different screen that you can choose how you want your oil painting to look. all of these things are only subtle adjustments. They're not something really outstanding. They just add a little bit more to the picture itself. So from there, I'll duplicate the copy and head back up into the filter gallery and head to distort. In distort, I'll find pinch, and with that, that just gives you a different perspective on your picture. That's just a fun one, the same as the next one, which is back up in the filter gallery, back into distort, and this one's spherize. So again, it just gives you something different to make your picture stand out a little bit more fun. And these sort of things you just need to play with till you get them to how you like them. It's all just a matter of play really from here. This is, I'm adding a texture now to it. This is why I told you to go and take photos out of whatever. It doesn't matter if you expand this particular layer. If you expand a photo layer, you'll find that they pixelate, but when you're doing textures, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to see all that much of them anyway. So then you just go up and try a few blend modes and see whether they'll work. If you're happy with one of those, then you just go with that. Just see how you go. I regularly just go back to here and start adding the layer mask or drag the opacity down. Just needs to be subtle, but it just, you can see something's going on but you're not sure what. It just adds just a little bit extra to it, and it makes it particularly yours and not somebody else's. Just bear in mind that everybody has a different taste. So what you like, someone else may not, and it's just your own particular choice. There's no right, there's no wrong, it's how you like it, and just play with it. Hop in there and try anything and everything in there. And like, this is just the tip of the iceberg. If you really and truly like this sort of stuff, I suggest you start a course. Go for something like I did online called Photoshop Artistry. I can't recommend this one too highly. Not only do you get all the video tutorials, but you get class content, you get lots of stuff to play with. And this guy steps you through so well. He'll explain everything heaps better than me. I've just touched the tip of the iceberg. He just explores the whole iceberg. It's so worth doing, and if you do, let me know and tag me in anything that you take pictures of. Thank you.